We live in a world where almost any ingredient you can imagine is only a few taps on a phone or a quick drive away. We spend our days enclosed in climate-controlled rooms, constantly swiping through screens, conditioned to expect everything to arrive exactly when we want it. That extreme convenience has created a distance between us and our sustenance. We rarely consider the origins of our meals, treating food as if it begins on a store shelf rather than out in the dirt. This indoor, sedentary lifestyle takes a physical and psychological toll. When our daily movement drops to nearly zero and we lose touch with natural environments, the result is often a sense of chronic exhaustion. We usually try to counter that exhaustion with high-effort solutions, restrictive diets, or intense gym routines. But there is a much simpler entry point to all of this: dropping a single seed into the soil. Placing a seed in the ground offers an immediate break from the high-speed cycle of modern life. It moves your focus from a digital inbox to a physical environment that follows its own rules. Moving into a garden environment changes your sensory input. You trade artificial office lights for sunlight, and the hum of electronics for the sound of birds, insects, and the movement of leaves in the breeze. It also changes how you move. Digging, weeding, carrying soil, and pruning all require sustained, purposeful effort. Your garden doesn't care if you call it a workout, but your body registers it. You accumulate regular, moderate physical activity, while your mind is entirely focused on a specific task. While your body is working, the garden forces your mind to slow down. This chart compares the erratic spikes of our digital notification cycles against the steady growth of a plant. You cannot yell at a tomato to ripen faster or demand that a seed sprout on a deadline. Adopting that unhurried pace provides a necessary cognitive break. It creates a space where your attention isn't being constantly fractured by alerts, allowing your stress response to naturally unwind. Tending to a plant exercises your muscles while providing the grounding focus to rehabilitate a tired mind. This environment becomes even more effective when it is shared. A few pots on a balcony or a small backyard plot can quickly become a collaborative space for an entire family to work together. For children, this is a behavioral intervention. When they participate in growing food, their willingness to actually eat it changes significantly. Look at this bar chart illustrating data from youth gardening programs. It shows a significant increase in vegetable familiarity and a much higher willingness to try new foods among children who garden compared to those who do not. When a child watches a seed germinate and sees how pollination works, a vegetable is no longer an abstract object on a plate. It is the result of their own patience and effort. The garden serves as a dedicated physical space that naturally facilitates conversation. It gets everyone away from their separate devices and into a collaborative project. It functions as a living laboratory, teaching children about biological processes while creating a much stronger connection to the natural world. After weeks of growth, care, sunlight, and water, you eventually pick something fresh, vibrant, and entirely your own. Having produce right outside your door gives you total control over what goes into your food, saves you a trip to the market, and makes you value the ingredients enough to minimize any waste. If your plants produce more than you can eat, that abundance can be shared. A surplus of peppers or tomatoes becomes a reason to connect with neighbors, turning a personal hobby into a community resource. The food sitting on the kitchen table is the most visible outcome of this process, but the time spent reaching this point has produced changes far beyond the plate. The months spent waiting for a plant to mature allow for a gradual shift in behavior. You have established more movement in your daily routine. You have practiced a different kind of patience and strengthened your family's connection to the environment. These benefits don't require a massive farm. The process scales down perfectly to a vertical wall, a few pots on an apartment balcony, or a shared patch in a community garden. You simply have to start the process. Because when you put your hands in the soil to grow a meal, you cultivate a healthier, more present, and more connected version of yourself.